Good morning, my son. Good morning, my daughter. Before anything else, and before the first cup of coffee, before the first step, before you pick up your phone and see what the world has to say, stop, breathe, and receive this moment as the gift that it is. You woke up. It sounds simple. It sounds obvious, but it isn't. There are people who went to bed last night with a heart too heavy, uncertain whether they would have the strength to see the dawn. Maybe you are one of those people. Maybe the weight you carry is so old, so deeply rooted, that you no longer remember what it feels like to wake up light. But you are here, and that alone is already God's answer. Before we begin this prayer, I need to ask you one thing, just one, that you don't read these words in a hurry, that you don't let them pass through your eyes without letting them sink down into your heart. Because what is written here was not made to be consumed, it was made to be felt. It was made to find exactly what you tried to hide last night beneath your pillow, that pain you pretended didn't exist, that fear you masked with busyness, that longing you swallowed because there was no one to share it with. Our Lady knows, she sees, and it is precisely because of that that this new day found its way to you. There is something sacred about the dawn that the rush of modern life has stolen from us. The ancients knew this. The Psalms were written in this hour, in this fragile border between the darkness of night and the clarity of morning, when the soul is still bare, still hasn't put on the armor of the day, still hasn't learned to pretend that everything is fine. David knew what it was to wake up surrounded by enemies. Not necessarily enemies of flesh and blood, though he had those too, but internal enemies. That voice that says you are not enough, that feeling that everything is falling apart and no one will show up to hold the pieces together. That cruel whisper that repeats insistently, it's no use anymore. And it was exactly in that place, in that dark valley, in that morning of despair, that David lifted his eyes and said, "But you, Lord, are a shield around me." Not a shield in front, not a shield behind, around, covering every side, every angle, every blind spot, every wound you don't even know you have. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine this, a shield that surrounds not just your body but your story. That covers not only your present but also your most painful memories and your deepest fears about the future. A shield that does not depend on your strength to hold, because it is sustained by the one who never tires, never sleeps, never looks away from you. That is what God is for you this morning. And Our Lady, that mother who never abandons any child, who stood at the foot of the cross when everyone else fled, who stayed when the whole world gave up, she is here too, by your side, at this exact moment as you read these words. You are not alone. Maybe you arrived here with a list of problems in your mind. Maybe you are already thinking about the bills due this week, the difficult conversation that needs to happen, the health that worries you, the child who has drifted away, the marriage hanging by a thread, the job that won't come, the loneliness that hurts in a way that is hard even to name. I know, and Our Lady knows too. But before all of that, before you load the weight of the day onto your shoulders, she asks one thing of you, just one. Lift your head, not because the problems are gone, not because life suddenly became easy, but because there is a God who is your glory, and who lifts your head even when you no longer have the strength to lift it yourself. You are my glory, the one who lifts my head high. He lifts it, not you, him. Shall we pray together? Place your hand over your heart, or kneel if you can, or simply be still for a moment just as you are, wherever you are, because God does not need ceremony to hear you. He only needs you, just as you are, with everything you carry. Our Lady, Most Holy Mother, good morning. I come to you this morning with my heart in my hands. I have no beautiful words. I have no perfect faith. I have doubts. I have fears. I have scars that still ache when the silence comes. But I have this, the certainty that you do not abandon me. Mother, I need you to intercede for me today. Take to your Son every broken piece that exists within me, every postponed dream, every swallowed tear, every night when I asked myself whether it was worth it to keep trying. Take all of it to the Lord, and give me back the strength to lift my head. Because I know, I need to believe, that you are the shield around me, that you are my glory when I cannot see any glory in myself, that you are the one who lifts my head when the weight of the world forces it down. I trust in you. Even when everything inside me screams that trusting is hard, even so I trust. Amen. Stay here for one more moment. You don't need to leave yet. This moment is yours. This prayer has created a sacred space around you, and you deserve to remain in it a little longer before facing the day, because the day will demand a great deal from you. It will ask for patience when you are at your limit. It will test your faith when the circumstances shout otherwise. It will place before you exactly what you fear the most, but you will not face it alone. The shield is already around you. The mother is already by your side, and your head, that head that the weight of life insisted on pushing down, it will be lifted, not by your effort, by the grace of the one who loves you with a love that has no bottom, no limit, no condition. Good morning, son. Good morning, daughter. The day is yours, and God has already gone ahead. There is a weariness that sleep cannot cure. You have known this weariness, the kind that is not in the muscles or the bones, and it is in the soul. It is the weariness of someone who has tried many times and fallen many times, of someone who smiled at the world while crumbling on the inside, of someone who learned over time and through pain to carry everything alone, because asking for help felt like too much weakness, or because the people around them simply were not available to listen. This weariness has a different name for each person. For some, it is called loneliness, even surrounded by people, even inside a full house, even with a phone full of contacts. For others, it is called disappointment, the disappointment of someone who bet on a person or a dream and watched everything collapse. Some call it fear, that silent fear that won't let you sleep, that makes the mind work in hours when the body begs for rest. And some simply don't know how to name what they feel, because the pain is too old, too deep, and has mixed so thoroughly with their identity that it seems impossible to separate where it begins and where the person ends. If you recognized yourself in any of those descriptions, you need to hear what comes next. Our Lady knows the weight, not in a theoretical way, not in a distant way, like someone observing another's suffering through glass. She knows it from the inside. She was a woman of flesh and blood who lived real losses, real fears, real nights of anguish. She carried in her heart the sword that Simeon prophesied, and it was not a metaphorical sword. It was the most concrete pain that exists, watching the son she loved be destroyed before her eyes, unable to do anything but stay. And she stayed. That is what few people talk about when it comes to Our Lady. It is not just the tenderness, not just the blue mantle and the serene smile from the images. It is the extraordinary strength of a mother who remained standing when the whole world was falling apart, who did not run, who did not give up, who stayed at the foot of the cross when the disciples, the brave men, had hidden away in fear. She stayed, and she stays with you too, right now, this morning. At this exact moment when the burden feels too heavy for your shoulders, think with me for a moment. Have you ever tried to carry a heavy backpack for too long? At first you manage, you even think you are doing well. But after hours, after uphill climbs, uneven terrain, a hot sun, what seemed bearable begins to curve your posture. You lower your head without noticing. Your steps grow shorter, your breathing harder, and there comes a moment when you can no longer look forward, only at the ground, one step at a time, trying to survive the next meter. That is how life weighs when we insist on carrying everything alone. And it is exactly there, in that moment when your posture has already given way, when your head has already dropped, when your steps have already grown too short, that a hand reaches out, not to take the backpack away from you entirely. Sometimes the burden is part of the journey. Sometimes it is precisely through it that we grow, that we learn, that we become who we need to be. But a hand that relieves, that sustains, that walks beside you, and makes what seemed impossible to carry somehow possible. That hand exists, and it never tires of reaching out to you. Psalm 3 was written in one of the darkest moments of David's life. He was fleeing from his own son, Absalom, who had rebelled against him and taken his kingdom. Imagine that pain. It was not just any enemy. It was flesh of his flesh. It was the son he had loved, raised, dreamed a future for, and now that same son wanted him dead. And the people around David were saying, "There is no salvation for him in God." What cruelty, what weight, to hear that from those who should have been on his side. Have you ever heard something like that? Not necessarily in those words, but that feeling that the people around you have, somehow, lost faith in you, that the looks have changed, that the advice stopped coming because no one believes there is a solution anymore. David knew that, and even so, even with his son against him, even with the people doubting, even exiled, exhausted, humiliated, he opened his mouth and said, "But you, Lord." That "but" is one of the most powerful in the entire Bible. It is the "but" of a faith that does not surrender to circumstance, the "but" of someone who looks at everything that is wrong and consciously decides to turn their eyes to the one who can make it right, the "but" that separates those who survive from those who crumble. But you, Lord, are a shield around me. You need that "but" in your life today. Because life will keep presenting arguments against your peace. It will keep showing numbers that don't add up, relationships that hurt, bodies that get sick, dreams that take too long. Reality will not change its tone just because you prayed this morning, but you can change the way you face it. And that is where Our Lady comes in, not as a magical figure who fixes everything with a snap of her fingers, but as a mother who intercedes, who strengthens, who reminds your heart, when you forget, that you are not alone in this battle. She has already gone to her son on your behalf. Countless times, on nights you didn't even know you needed intercession, and she was already there, silent, faithful, covering you with the mantle that doesn't appear to the eyes but is felt in the soul. That time you almost gave up and something held you. It was her. That time the bill was paid at the last second and you couldn't understand how. It was grace working. That time you were at the bottom of the pit and a simple word from a stranger gave you the strength to keep going. It was the love of God reaching you through the paths He chooses, which are rarely the ones we expect. Now in this block, I want to invite you into a different kind of prayer. Not a prayer of petition, though petitions are always welcome, but a prayer of surrender, of letting go, of opening your hands and allowing what you have insisted on controlling to go into the hands of the one who can truly take care of it. Because there are things we hold with such force, with such fear of losing, that we end up hurting our own hands from gripping so tightly. And sometimes what looks like giving up is, in fact, the most courageous act of faith you can perform. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is saying, I trust that you are greater than what I am trying to solve on my own. Mother, Our Lady, I come to you with open hands. Today I do not come with a list of requests. I come with a heart tired of holding everything alone. I come with shoulders curved under the weight of decisions I don't know how to make, situations I don't know how to resolve, pains I don't know how to heal. Mother, I let go. I let go of what I can no longer carry. I let go of the control that was never truly mine. I let go of the fear that if I stop fighting alone, everything will fall apart, because I need to believe that God's arms are stronger than mine. Cover my family with your mantle, Our Lady. Those I love who are suffering, those who have drifted away and I don't know how to reach, those who are sick, who are lost, who have broken hearts. Intercede for every one of them, and intercede for me. For that part of me that still doubts, that still trembles, that still asks in the darkest nights, God, where are you? Answer that question in my heart today, Lord. It doesn't have to be with words. It can be with peace, with that peace that surpasses all understanding, the one Paul described, the one that makes no sense in the face of circumstances, but that exists, that is real, that is possible. I want that peace. I need that peace. Breathe deeply. If your eyes filled with tears, don't wipe them yet. Let them be. Sometimes a tear is the most honest prayer that exists. It is the heart speaking what words cannot reach. It is the soul acknowledging that it is human, that it is fragile, that it needs, and that it is okay to need. You do not have to be strong all the time. You only need to be faithful long enough to see the hand of God move, and it will move. Stay here. The best is yet to come. It is time to get up. Not in a little while. Not when the situation improves. Not when the debt disappears, when the relationship heals, when the fear passes, when life finally makes sense again. Now, just as you are, with everything that still hurts, with everything that still has no answer, with everything that still feels incomplete. Now, because faith does not wait for perfect conditions to act. Faith is exactly this, moving before you can see, taking the step before you feel the ground beneath you, lifting your head before you understand why. And that is what God is asking of you this morning. Think about how the morning works. The light does not arrive all at once. It does not appear suddenly, flooding everything in a single second. It begins with a thread, a timid glow on the horizon that is barely noticeable. And then, little by little, slowly, almost without you seeing it happen, the sky begins to change. The deep blue of the early hours gives way to purple, the purple to orange, the orange to gold. And suddenly, without you being able to pinpoint the exact moment it happened, it is day. The grace of God works like that. You will not always notice the moment it begins to act. There will be no announcement, no fanfare, no obvious sign that things are changing, but they are. Beneath the surface, in the layers that eyes cannot reach, something is moving, something is being prepared, something is being reorganized by hands you cannot see, but that never stop working on your behalf. God did not take the day off. There is an enormous difference between a person who walks bent and a person who walks with their head held high. And it is not just posture, it is presence. It is who you are in the world when you truly believe that you are a child of the King. When you walk bent, the world sees you bent. You see yourself bent, and you begin to make decisions like someone who is bent. Small decisions, fearful decisions, defensive decisions that never come close to what you were created to live. But when you lift your head, when you allow the one who is your glory to sustain your gaze, something changes, not just in you, around you. Because there is something in the human being who walks with dignity that inspires, that draws, that opens doors that being bent keeps closed. Lifting your head is not arrogance, it is faith in action. It is saying to the world, to the circumstances, to the enemy who tried to bend you, I know in whom I believe, and the one in whom I believe is greater than everything that is against me. Our Lady lived this. In the darkest moment of her life, at the foot of the cross, watching her son die, unable to understand with her human mind how that could be part of a plan of love. She did not collapse. She did not run. She did not curse the heavens for the pain she was feeling. She stood, bent on the inside certainly, broken on the inside absolutely, but standing with her eyes on him, with her heart bleeding yet still trusting. And 3 days later, 3 days that must have felt like an eternity, she understood, not that the pain had been small, not that the process had been easy, but that the plan was greater than the pain, that the resurrection was on the other side of the cross, that what looked like the end was, in fact, the beginning of something no human mind could have imagined. What is looking like the end in your life may be exactly that, the beginning of something you cannot yet imagine. I want to ask you a direct question. What have you stopped trying because of fear? What dream did you bury because the circumstances shouted louder than your faith? What step did you stop taking because someone, or life itself, convinced you it was not worth trying? Because Our Lady is here this morning to tell you that it is worth it, that you were created with a purpose that does not expire, that your pain has not canceled your destiny, it is part of it, that every difficult night you crossed was training for the version of you that is about to emerge, not the perfect version, not the version without scars, the real version, the forged version, the version that knows the weight and still chooses to walk, that knows the pain and still chooses to love, that knows the doubt and still chooses faith. That version of you is powerful, and the world needs it. Before the final prayer, I need to tell you something that perhaps no one has told you today. You matter, not for what you produce, not for what you achieve, not for what you offer others or the role you play. You matter because you exist, because you were made with intention, with love, with purpose, by a God who makes no mistakes and who creates no disposable people. You are not disposable. You are not the accumulation of your mistakes, not the sum of your losses, not the average of your defeats. You are a son, you are a daughter, and that identity of beloved, of chosen, of covered, does not depend on anything else. It is already yours. It was given before you deserved it, and it cannot be taken away no matter what happens. Now, with that full heart, or still broken, that is okay. Let us pray the final prayer together. This is a prayer of declaration, of someone who lifts their head and decides to move forward, not because the problem has ended, but because they have decided to trust the God who walks through the middle of it. Speak with me, from the depths of your heart, with whatever voice you have, even if it is a trembling voice, even if it is a tired voice, even if it is a voice that barely believes its own words. Speak anyway. God hears even a whisper. Lord, good morning. Today I choose to lift my head, not because life became easy, not because the answers have come, not because the fear disappeared or the pain is lessened, but because you are the shield around me, and I choose to trust that more than I trust my circumstances. Our Lady, beloved Mother, thank you for interceding for me. Thank you for not giving up on me in the nights when I almost gave up on myself. Thank you for staying, as you stayed at the foot of the cross, even when there was nothing the eyes could see beyond the pain. Lord, I declare today, I am your son, I am your daughter, and the child of the King does not walk bent. The child of the King does not live dominated by fear. The child of the King lifts their head, not by their own strength, but by the grace of the one who sustains it. I release the control of what I cannot change. I receive the peace that surpasses understanding. I trust in God's timing, even when mine screams that it is running late. Bless my day, Lord. Bless my steps. Bless my relationships. Bless the work of my hands. Bless what I do not yet know needs to be blessed. And when the weight returns, because it will return, may I remember this moment. May I remember this morning when I decided, with everything I have, to trust in you. I lift my head, and I move forward. Amen. Now go. The day is waiting for you, and it will not be perfect. Days rarely are. There will be moments of impatience, situations that will test exactly everything you just declared. There will be times when the weight returns and your head will want to drop again. When that happens, and it will happen, you do not need to start over. You only need to remember. Remember that there is a shield around you, that there is a mother interceding for you, that there is a God who lifts your head when your strength runs out, that this morning happened, that you prayed, that you chose, and choose again, as many times as necessary, because faith is not a single decision. It is a decision that renews itself every morning, every moment of crisis, every time the world tries to convince you that God has forgotten you. He is not forgotten. He never forgot, and he never will. Go with God, my son. Go with God, my daughter. With your head held high, your feet on the ground, and your heart in the hands of Our Lady. The day is long, but grace is greater. The blessing has already been released. Now you only need to walk toward it, and you are already walking. But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high. Psalm 3:3.